all for being in here. Really appreciate it.
What's up, Kimmy? I can see you guys now. Hey, let
Uh,
us know. Can you guys hear Santos okay, or I need to turn him up because I'm really loud. You can talk now, Santos.
all right. So I hope I don't sound like in my stream. So I hope I don't make you go to sleep, guys. So you better tell me that I have a really nice volume. Otherwise, get your pillows and your blanket because otherwise you're going to go to sleep.
All right. Well, Henry says Santos is good, and Naeem says he's a little down. So I've got Santos really close to the screen. All right. So anyway, it's Saturday night. We got the Fun in Santos show. We're going to talk about the next tournament, the Coastal Classic tournament. But since it's Saturday night, let's start off with a video. What do you guys say?
Oh yeah, man.
Come on, guys, say something. Santos, you still there? Okay, there we
I'm
go.
here,
Henry,
man. I'm
Naeem.
here. I'm here.
Awesome. All right, guys,
I
we're going to
didn't want
talk
it.
about the Coastal Classic tournament, and we're going to go. Santos is going to do the green line, and when there is a red line, I'll do the red line. You like that, Emily? All right, Santos, I'm on hole one, and I want you to start talking about the second tee green line. You should see it now on your screen. Go for it. What's up,
Yeah,
Aaron?
absolutely, guys. So awesome. So it's nice to see you all here. So welcome you all again. And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the green line here, about hole one, this par five. I usually, the good thing about this one is that you guys could play this one in, I think, like Jane and I said in the last preview that we did, that this green line, you can do it like basically from rookie and pro and expert division. And you can go that route. I really like the left because with our second shot, we're gonna have a really straight. Um, I won't say straight win because I don't know what type of win we're gonna have in the tournament, but we'll be more straight at the pen, or at the hole on the green. So on this one, I play. This is a hole that I play a lot of times in tour 10, and I love playing on the left. And as you can see, that's the best option for me to go is on the left. Always you gotta be careful, guys, when you do this adjustment with your drive, because you have to leave always a margin of error in case you hit a great right or you hit a great left. That you really need to um, get that marginal error in this shot, because if you land on the rough, then you can say almost goodbye to your ego, because I think this is going to be, since it's a par five, I think this is going to be an ego hole. So goodbye to your goodbye to your ego, and you don't want to do that. you don't want to do that. I can talk a little bit as well, like if you want to play it on the right, but that I will leave that to James. But for me, because it is my best option in pro, expert, and rookie, left is the best option that you play with your driver. It could be with any club. Let's just hope that we don't have that massive headwind, because this is another thing. If we get like a massive headwind, which I don't think we'll do, it's better to play on playing right. And I don't think we're going to have that issue. So for this hole, I always adjust 10%. With my drive, it could be any drive from extra mile 7, extra mile 6, and up. And you can play this one, and then with your sniper level. I would suggest for me, so you can have a really easy second shot with your wood. At least your sniper level 8 and up for me. That would be basically the best approach you can do in this whole one. In 10%, I use 10% with my drive, and also 10% with my wood club too. So any wood club you use, I always use 10% as well. Okay, James, that's
right.
I can say about this whole.
Okay. Aaron says club and ball. Aaron, pro and expert and even rookie, it would behoove you to bring at least an extra mile 5 and up. A Thor's hammer, as long as it has lots of top spin, and a Kingmaker, you should be fine. And again, I will probably go left as long as I don't have straight tailwind, because that's the albatross shot for everybody. And like Santos says, it's a sniper albatross opportunity. No, there is no funnel, but it's roughly 3 backspin, aim at the cup, and adjust 10% downhill. However, because it's such a technical shot, the first shot, if I have straight tailwind, and I'm talking third tee for me, because just so you guys know, I'm not playing expert this time. I'm playing all my accounts in Masters, so I can make the weekend and have something to do on the weekend. But by the same token, I have plenty of expert golds. I'm not looking for them at this point. I'm looking for some Masters weekends. So anyway, if I get there and they have a straight tailwind, I know that the technical shot on the left is going to be very difficult. So I'm simply going to put in a power 5 ball, whack it hard, and I have seen someone drive the green before. I've even driven the green with the power 5 ball before, going right. It's not easy, doesn't happen often, but the good news is my second shot, whether it's in the rough or sand, I can still reach the green in 2, which is what you want to make sure that you're at least getting your eagle. So with that, Santos, do you have anything else?
No, actually, what you said is good, but at the same time, it all depends. Like if you play on the right, it all depends what kind of drive you have. What kind of club. What is because I don't think every club, even the extra mile, can reach on that one. But
yep,
the right side. But like I said, yeah, I think that would be left for me, and I think there's nothing else I can add to this one.
All right. Well, rather than keep talking about left, and hole 1, let's move on to hole 2. Everyone, this is a par 4. It's a tough par 4 to get an eagle on. However, if you have an APOC 7 in your bag and you're playing expert and you have a tailwind, life's going to be good. But anyway, we'll start with Santos. Santos, tell us about the green line going left.
All right, this one this is another hole for tour 10 that I play a lot. Okay, the way I play this one is I always like to play this hole on the left. That's why we have that green line there. If you can see the first dot, well, not the first dot, but I mean the first dot besides from the tee. I like to play this one I always like to use a Titan here when I play tour 10, but it all depends on the wind that we're going to get. But in any wind that I get, in any type of wind that I get, I always go left. And I always do the same approach. I always use 2 top spin, full right spins, and then aim, using my red ring at the edge of the rough and the fairway and the little island there. And then, just 2 top spin, full right spin, and then aim at mid-distance drive. That's the approach with 10% extra that I use in this hole every single time with my drive. So it's really important that you go mid-distance, 10% extra. And the way I play is, like I said, two dot spin, full right spin, and then just try to aim almost at the center of that little island, the first island on the where you see the dot, the green dot there. And then the second shot that I use is the idea is to land exactly where you see the second dot there on the other little island there that I just say, or the little fairway, the second fairway. And then I use my sniper, and I always go by 1-1 plus 1, so, but it's the same thing like saying 1-1 plus 10% downhill. It's the same approach that I do in this hole. So that's the way I do it. Any drive club that you can use, mid distance, 10%, full right spin, and two dot spin.
I'm just laughing at the chat. Okay. Well, I'm just going to reiterate what you said on the green line. Your first bounce on that first island needs to be, in my opinion, near the middle of it, not near the back edge of it. It does seem like your bounce is straighter when you do that. And I think, Santos, you were going to say that you use the sniper on the second shot with 2 or 3 backspin, but it's very hard to get that one to go in the hole. Is that right?
No, actually, I'm talking about basically I'm talking only to my drive. With my drive, I use two dot spin, full right spin.
Well, if you haven't talked about your approach shot, go ahead.
With my second shot, I was saying like I use the sniper, but all depends on the wind, how much right spin or how much top spin or how much back spin. It will depend on the wind that we're gonna get. So for that one, I will leave until we get the wind. But I always use 10%. I use 10% every time in Tour 10, so I don't think it should be any difference unless they change the elevation once we get into the tournament. But I always use 10% with my drive, 10% with my wheel club, and then adjust whatever the wind give us to do there.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, well, if we get a tailwind, I'm going to go down the middle. Funnily enough, Aaron said, what about to the right? Aaron, I'll most likely, if I get a side wind or a headwind, will be going to the right because going to the left is very difficult from the third tee. And again, it's mainly to keep the ball on the fairway. So I can just bounce it over there, bring the Cataclysm, and hopefully bounce it up to the green from that island that's underneath this 10% right here.
Can I say something about that too, Jamie?
No. Of course, Santos. Go ahead.
Okay, Aaron, the right.
Sub-Zero.
You definitely can do the right with no problem. But the thing is, at least for me, my observation of this hole is that if you play on the right, I feel that it's more a safe shot if you play on the right. That's the way I feel. Using obviously a little bit of curl depending on the wind, obviously. But at the same time, it's like you play on the right, and I feel that the only option is that okay, let me just be on the green and not really looking for something extra. That's right. The way I see it.
Right.
But playing on the left, you have more options to get something extra than just get whatever the hole gives us. That's the reason I prefer to go left for that option. Only for that reason only. That's why I love left. But you can play on the right with no problem at all as well.
Right. Okay, I'm going to keep moving you around because I don't know if my other phone is blocking the signal or not. I keep getting low connection, so I hope you guys will let me know if it starts buffering. But I'm looking at it. It looks fine. All right, so let's move on to hole 3. A rainy day is coming to most of us players because hole 3 is not fun. Let's see if I can slide here.
Holy hole sucks. Change it.
That's how it... Uh-oh, I can't turn him off.
Holy hole sucks.
There we go. Okay, so tell us about hole 3 there, Santos. Santos?
Okay,
Oh,
this
there you are.
is this is a really tricky hole. I think honestly we're gonna have a little bit of
What's up, Ian?
uh, we're gonna have some issues in this hole. But the best way possible that I can say that I will try is to play exactly on the fringe area, going like 50% up downhill on this hole. I think the best option is to get a club that it has as much backswing possible that you could get in this one. Talking with your drive. Obviously, if you're going to play on the fringe, you're going to be doing the play with your driver. Obviously, once James talked with the red lines, you can play. You're going to play more in that area with your wood club. But for me, as talking of the green line, it's just going to be with a drive with a lot of backspin
Rocket
and
Man.
some, and also 50% downhill. That's the way I will go in this hole. That's as much as I can say on this one.
Yeah, if you have a Rocket 10, the green line works well. If you have Thor 5 and up, or maybe even Thor 4, you can definitely try to do this with a full backspin shot. But it really, again, the wind's going to determine how we do this. So I'm going ahead and saying that from the third tee, I'm probably going to have to do a bounce, which puts the Holio out of the question. But if we get a straight tailwind, and I can put the Rocket down there somewhere on that pad, on the last pad, I might start trying it. But for now, I just wanted to show the bounce over. And when we say 50% downhill, let's say you're an expert and you have a 6 mile an hour wind. That means you're going to have to take 3 extra rings. So you're playing 9 rings from where your first bounce is. That does not feel right at all. But when you see what happens, forget about figuring out where your bounce is going to go. Aim it somewhere in the middle of the next pad and try to stop it before it rolls off. And then after you've seen it on your replay once or twice, then you can start zeroing it in. But not going to be a big Holio hole, and let's hope it's not the golden shot. So, all right, on to hole 4, guys. Assuming you were done, Santos, were you done with hole 3? I didn't think you
Oh
wanted to
yes.
talk about that one too much. All right, hole 4, par 4, go.
Okay, this is another beauty, especially when this whole four par four. It reminds me a lot of sand and water most of the time because I wasn't able to really understanding how to play this hole here. But thank God that we keep learning every single day and we can improve our game. So definitely, it will depend on the wind. But I just love like with any drive we can play. When I say any drive, talking from the extra mile up, APOG, four and up, and of course four and up. Talking about that, using 20% downhill here, and using quite some curl as well to the left most of the time, depending. It don't matter how much wind we get. Obviously, I mean, what kind of wind we're gonna get. But obviously, if we get a wind like from right to left, obviously we can use, because remember that every time that the wind is pushing one direction, you have to understand, guys, that the ball would be pushed obviously harder to that direction. So that means if it's, let's say that we have a wind like from right to left, it means you cannot use too much curl because that will definitely affect a little bit your shot. But that's the way we're gonna play here. I'm thinking like I'm imagining myself here using my APOC 5 Pro. That's what I'm gonna use here, and I imagine myself using the red ring at the edge here of the rough, adding 20% extra, probably maybe 4 top spin, probably something like that, depending if I don't have headwind, and using like about half curl, maybe thinking something like that. and playing on the left. So definitely that would be another option. Would be the power hook or just a hook. Maybe we don't have to do a power hook. It will depend. So it will be those options: power hook or a hook shot or just regular shot with some left
What's
curl
up,
and all of
Clint?
that in this one.
All right,
So
Naeem, we'll
yeah,
see you soon.
right.
All right, Santos, I agree with you that in most cases we'll probably have to choose the green line. There is a power hook where if you aim at one of these rocks, look for someone on Facebook to post which rock to aim at, and you can actually full curl power hook it to where it rolls up close to the green on your first on your drive, and then you can chip it in. But if I have a straight tailwind, I'm going to use my APOC 7 and full backspin, and then start backing off the backspin one at a time to see how close I can get to the hole. But it's just full curl, hope and pray that I hit it perfect. The other option, of course, is to bounce over right here, but that's basically if you just want to get a birdie. But so many people screw that up and get in the water that if I have a unfavorable wind, I'll go ahead and keep trying for the green line. So at least I'm dry. All right. Anybody have any questions on that? No? Good. Hole 5.
Yeah, that get dry.
All right, Santos. This is a lot of people's favorite hole, and you'll notice there's no red line because there's not necessary. I'm not about to try the rough bump or the island hop on the other side. There's only one way to attempt to get the hole in one, in my opinion, consistently, and that's going right. So tell us about it.
Okay, this is another shooter hole for in Tour 10 as well. I played this hole a lot of times as well. So the way I have found to play this hole is like depending on the wind that I use. Like if I have like tailwind and I have headwind, I always use 20% downhill. I think that's what has worked for me. Some people use 10, but for me, what has worked of not hitting the rough is 20%. Only if I get headwind or tailwind. If you get like crosswind, I only use 10%. Full right spin, full left spin, and I use this even if we have like headwind, I only use 3 backspins in this hole. If it's tailwind, I will use 4 backspin, so I can have more control of the ball and use like 3. I would say maybe 3/4 of curl, not full curl, but like around 3/4 of curl I will use on this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And the best club that I love to play this one as well. Maybe some people will be use the B52 if they have it like a level 5 or things like that. For me, best option and best pick that I can take on a long iron is the
Goliath?
Goliath.
Yeah.
That's my glove for this one.
Yeah.
You can go from there.
If you guys want to go on YouTube, look up Tommy Goliath hole 5 or whatever the name of this hole is, you'll see how the second bounce is aimed right there at this. It's in the center of the screen, that second dot, and then use about half curl, and that ball goes in the hole more often than not. So definitely, it doesn't matter when you set up. You don't need to know what your backspin is. You set it up to where it starts curling right there at that dot, to where it's on the green going left, and that's before you put your curl on, of course. So bottom line is, this is most of the time it's going to be an easy bird, but there's going to be a lot of holios. So watch out, because that's going to be required by the weekend. You've got to figure that one out by the weekend. All right, on to hole 6. Yay! Speaking of hole 6 and APOC 7.
Say this hole requires APOC 7. One more time. And I'll Ezekiel 11 your ass.
Okay, Santos, tell us about Hole 6, par 5.
Okay, and this one, obviously, thank God that you have the red line there because Aaron might ask as well on the right as well. You can play on the right this hole and the left. Why the green line is on the left? Because for me, that's the best way to play this hole in another tour 10 hole. So I played this one so many times, but I will say something, guys, on this hole. If we have like a massive headwind in Mexico, let's say for example, or pro, and we have like a massive headwind, and that you don't have a ball that can or a drive that it can really put you into that third, if we can call it that way, a little fairway there, where the third dot is. Play on the right. I think is really the best option to do it. But for me, I don't know. I have a wind resistant ball. I will go on the left because I feel that the chances that I have to get something extra for me is on the left. So I will go with on the left, and also use a wood club will be my sniper for me. The best option, James will say, Guardian. But for me, it will be sniper on this hole. Yep. For my second shot as well. And also using 10%. That's the way I play this one, both with my drive and also with my wood club. I use the same elevation, 10% in both of them. So that's the way I will go.
Yeah, you and I talked about this. It's actually uphill, but you play it 10% extra.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the way I have played it, and it's worked for me. So in my case, I'm not going to change it now because that's what is working for me. So
right.
10% downhill.
Well,
both drive and wood club as well.
Yeah, I've had a limited number of times playing this from the third tee, and I already know that unless I have a straight tailwind and a power 5 ball, I'm not going to be able to go left. So I'm actually going to bring the cat and get as far down the right side as possible. And even though, if you look here, I show using a cat with a lot of backspin, it'll probably be bouncing on the pad right in front of it with 2 or 3 topspin and trying to roll it up to the green without going too far. I don't want to go too far, but at the same time, I don't want to have a terrible chip. So this is my safe way for now, going to the right. If we have a straight tailwind, then I can go to the left. And I'm not so sure about bringing the sniper here. I think I'd be more comfortable just bringing my cat with more backspin to give me options in the shootout. So it's a very hard hole to hit that albatross. You have to hit the top of the green and let it roll in. And it's just almost impossible because, like Santos says, you're playing uphill, but you're having to add extra just to get it to the green. Especially if it's a headwind, you definitely have to play that extra. But a tailwind,
yeah.
if you get just a little too much momentum, you're going to roll off the backside. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, and that's because the green on this one, it has like a roll, like it's like a slope, from right to left, like goes down.
Yeah, there is a funnel,
really
but the funnel doesn't end
really
at the hole. All right. Let's move on to hole 7, Santos. Let's see. That looks a little fuzzy. Let's try this one. There we go. Again, we don't have a red line here. So, Santos, you tell everyone what you're going to do, Rocket Man. And then I'll come in behind
you. This is a hole that, many people will play it like from the little fairway on the left, or you guys, you could see it there. And using quite some pearls and some spin, depending obviously the wind, but obviously the spin is going to be to the right. It don't matter what wind you have, you're going to use some right spin here. But I've seen James play this hole before in that tournament that I don't remember the name, but he got the hole in one with the rocket and this one, and that's where you see the green line. I think that's the safest play to play this one, is to go with your racket and try to be there on the green, just because, guys, I don't know how many hole-in-ones we're going to get on this one, but at least the way I'll see it is that you're gonna guarantee to put yourself into the green or in the fairway, just in any case. But if you play with the rocket, 100% is going to be the green. I don't think we're going to land onto the fairway. I mean, into the French. But if we do, it's easy chip in anyway. But for me, that's the best way we'll play it. I hope the wind will be favorable for all of us, and we can play with the rocket there. And I don't have to play a tricky shot, because if you play on the pad on the left, this is more like a technical. In my opinion,
that's good.
You have to be really technical in order to try to really find. And when we use, the problem is that I found is that when you have to use curl in any shot, it's not a guarantee you're going to get a hole in one or an albatross, because we never know exactly how much curl we're going to use. So the best way to play any hole is trying not to use any curl, so like that we can have just a straight shot to the hole. So that's the way I see this one.
Exactly. From the second tee, I think my best option is the rocket with full backspin, no curl, no overpower. It's just, I think I used 1-to-1 and added one and then played with it from there. So you don't have to, be a ring nut. You just figure it out. It's real simple to adjust. From the third tee, though, I might have to bring the Apocalypse 7 on the only account I have it on to see if I can reach that same spot. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do the bounce shot, and I don't like the bounce shot because it goes everywhere. Every now and then, someone accidentally gets a hole-in-one bouncing it over, and then they post it like they meant to do it. But if I can get it as close to the hole as possible and then stop it, at least I know it's going to be a bird, and I won't have to worry about being in the rough. Let's see. Remind everyone that the rocket will play short with full backspin. Clint, when I'm saying rocket full backspin, that's with a tailwind. You are correct. If you have a headwind, you just take 2 backspin off. No big deal. And that's actually something else I was going to say, is you want that shot to be just a little long as opposed to a little short, because when that ball starts to back up, you could back up and still have to putt, and that's not an easy putting surface. So good point over there, Clint. All right, hole 8. Speaking of bouncing off the back of a rock, Santos, what are you going to do?
Okay, this one, man, this hole has been a while myself as well. And, this hole 8.
Yeah, but you got a plan.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I'm going to play this one, James, for sure, is try to land there on that second fairway there, like just ump over the water there.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I'm going to use with my drive. If I go back to this hole, I remember, I think for us, that's why you see 15% downhill, guys. I think that will work nicely, with your drive. And just try to put yourself there and then go with your short iron. This is a hole, guys, that you need a really, really backspin long iron. The better one, I guess, that I could think of is the Saturn. I think the Saturn is the club to go here, just because it will give you the option that you either do the rough bump or you do the full backspin and just put yourself on the green there, obviously trying to get the eagle if possible. And but the best way is the one you can use another club, but I don't think many people will have like really upgrade. What is this other club that has a really a lot of backspin? I don't
talking about Saturn?
In my head.
Are you talking about the Saturn long iron or the Thorn short iron?
No, I'm talking about the long iron. The long iron. So this is another one. But anyway, the best one is, because I feel that it has more ball guide, is the Saturn to play with your second shot. In my opinion,
you're not talking about the Grim Reaper, are you?
The what?
The Grim Reaper? It's got great backspin, but it takes a long time to get ball guide.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that one. The best option, like I said, is I think for me is the Saturn. I think it will
Tsunami?
be the best because
Thank you, Henry.
it will it will be the one that a lot of people will be have the tsunami. Said Henry. There we go, tsunami.
Yeah, that never
That's
gets
right
ball
for me.
guide. Ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, so that's why I said the Saturn. I think most of us will have that upgraded, if not max, almost to max, and that's the best one to go in this whole 100%. You can play also with the Goliath, no problem at all. But it's always to ensure that you have a club that will give you a few more options than just going one option. So that's why I feel that the Saturn is the club to play here with your long iron in this one,
Right.
for sure. Because
Okay,
you can
now,
do the rough bump if you want, or you can do the full backspin shot as well,
yeah,
approach.
and once you see the wind the first time, let's say it's a straight side wind, then it will be safe to bring your Goliath or B-52 and go for the rough bump. But until we see the wind, I wouldn't bring anything without a lot of backspin to give you any options. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You want me to talk about the red line? Or
Well, but the red line, I think, is you.
yeah, I'll take it. From the third tee, I have seen someone bounce over over the water and then up to this the second one on the island. I believe I saw Tommy do that, and it made it for an easier chip to get it in. But most likely, I'll just be playing it safe and just bouncing over to the big island here. And then my second shot, if we have a straight tailwind or a straight headwind, I'm going to look at the Brad Wall, bounce it off the cliff shot. And I watched Jesse's video a couple of days ago, and he was trying to remember who did that shot. That was Brad. Brad may come back just to stream this hole. So it's a very interesting shot. Full backspin. I'm not aiming it at the right spot right now, but you get the idea. I didn't want to cover up the flag or anything, but it's right behind the flag. There's a spot on the wall, and when you bounce back down, sometimes you go in the sand, sometimes you go on the green, sometimes you roll off the green. But you can figure it out after about 3 or 4 tries. So bottom line is it's not an easy eagle hole. So you're just trying to get set up good for your bird. All right, hole 9. Woo, it's getting hot in here. Santos,
Hole 9,
we
baby.
got 2
Well,
ways to go here, and neither one of them are easy.
yes. But the most favorite one that we're gonna try to do is the red line. The red line, it will work in any division
I was about to say the
that you
green
can
line's the
go there.
easier one.
Not really, because it does a lot of elevation in this shot. If you
Yeah, but
really willing to play.
if you don't have a high level club with lots of curl, the red one will make you cry.
Well, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But like on the green line is a hole that we can use like maybe like around 40% uphill because there's not much uh, um, ring adjustment that you're gonna do on this one because if you just quite do a little more than what you need to, you're gonna be hitting the rough, and then you can say goodbye to your eagle
Yes,
on this
a
one,
lot
and
of
you
people will
end
be
up
hitting
in the
those
rough
rocks right there.
automatically.
Yeah,
So it is a really dangerous way. The best or the easiest I will see many people, like you said, maybe will go with the green line, but you have to really be careful on doing your adjustment there.
well,
And then
just
using a big dog
yeah,
or cataclysm, even the sniper, you can still play it. But if you want to have like a really safe shot, but like it will depend actually. It will depend what kind of wind we get. Then that will decide which type of car we're going to take. But the easiest way to play is if you take like a big dog or a cataclysm. You're going to have a really easy shot. A second shot, depending because the reason I would say maybe a cataclysm or a big dog is because for any reason you hit the rough and you land, you say just a little bit more from the first dot that you see on the left on the green line, then it's going to be hard with the sniper to reach even to the little fairway there on the middle.
Oh, I would say if you go left, you better have the big dog and the cat, or the cat, because you might not be able to reach, even with a good drive. You might be so far away. Now the sniper with its full topspin might be able to bounce over this little island with the sand in it, but if you have the Guardian in, you're in trouble. So
absolutely, and I will go 20% with your wood club here.
Yeah, 20% downhill. So if it's 5 miles an hour, take 6 rings.
People don't like it much because of the ball guide, but I think you don't want to risk it. That's the way I see it. You got to play safe. If you land in the really position where you see that you can use even the sniper, you can say, hey, I can take the sniper here. Hey, but what you're trying to do there is to ensure your eagle, just in case you don't end up with your drive with the distance that you need in order to reach with the sniper. So that's the reason I'll say that a big dog or cataclysm will be a good club to take here for this one, just to ensure your eagle. That's the way I'll say.
Now tell us what happens when you go right and you actually make it to the second fairway here. What do you do then?
Well, if you go right and then you are able to manage to stay on the green with that second fairway there, you have a lot more chances to get the other truck with the sniper. That's if you're gonna play on the right, take your sniper. You don't need big dog or anything like that.
Yeah, I would even say it might be a Goliath shot. It might be a Saturn. I mean, possibly a Saturn shot, but you don't really need a lot of backspin. So I'd keep the Goliath or the B-52, or even the Backbone. I mean, something that's got good distance, but at the same time, you don't need backspin or a lot of topspin because you're really just bouncing over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward that it will be more with the sniper. Trust me on this one.
I don't know, man. You might be surprised how far you go.
Be prepared. Be prepared. You never know because you might land or close to the front rough area, and then you could be with your long iron shot. But most of the time, many people, what they do here is that you don't do, when you play right, you don't do too much topspin because you might hit it great, and if you overdo your topspin, you're more likely gonna be on the rough because if you don't have the white curl that you need. That's why you don't use too much topspin here. I think the max topspin you can use in this hole, honestly, with your drive, is 3 or 4 max. No more than that, I will go.
Right. Well, even if you put full topspin and roll off the end of this fairway, now it's an easy Nirvana 5 and up, or even Malibu might be able to make it. But I would go ahead and switch over to your what's the other sand wedge? P42, whatever it is. The one that looks like a plane. Because it has so much topspin, in case you have a lot of distance, you can still bounce it and get over that sand, as opposed to the Malibu that only has 3 topspin. So definitely,
most definitely, yeah. If we gotta be, like I said, the easiest more
Spitfire.
way to get an outro is playing right. But hey, it's always a risk that we gotta take. So I guess we're gonna be taking the right side.
Yeah, Henry.
Most of us.
Santos, remind me to conference call Henry on our next video because he just pulls the words out for us. I'm like, the Green Club. He tells us which one it is. The black ball, the one with power 3, the Queen Maker. No, it's not it. So, okay, well, do you have anything else to say about this hole?
No, man, I think that will pretty much it. I guess once where we're really going to be knowing exactly how we're going to play this one is when the tournament starts. But I hope that at least in a little bit, we help some of you guys to get your score that you're looking for. So let's hope that happens, and we go from there.
Yeah, and until we see the win, guys, none of these lines mean anything. Those are just general ideas of how we're going to approach the shots. Until you actually see the wind, that's when you decide which way to go. And then you can start dialing it in. But with that, Santos, I appreciate it, man. You're down in sunny Orlando, and hope to see you back next week or the week after. But I'll be at work. But say goodbye, Santos, and I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Blessings to you all. Thank you, Jenny. Really appreciate it for everything, brother. All the job that you have taken to the soul. And yeah, let's go get the gold banners or that silver banners or that bronze banners, but something. Let's go get them. Take care, everyone.
Get up, get down, put the bass down.
Later on, Santos! I'll call you right back, dude. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Thank you again, Santos.